Hey guys, what's going on? Dr. Frank here, founder of AddictionMindset Recovery Coaching Programs. And in today's brief video, we're going to talk about how to speak to your parents when it comes to smoking weed at home or when it comes to your lifestyle that might be that 420 lifestyle, and maybe you have some family members that disagree with it. So we're going to cover a few different scenarios. Be sure to bear with me throughout the whole video. Yes, here at Addiction Mindset Recovery Coaching, we do help people quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, pornography, and a whole host of other addictions. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Okay, so in this scenario, it's a common question I get. Let's take scenario number one. This is the person that lives at home. They're smoking weed. They're constantly in trouble for smoking weed, even though their parents are throwing back a few cocktails Monday through Sunday night. And this is the person that's truly benefiting from smoking weed. Now, yes, of course those people exist. Of course there's benefits to weed. This is the individual that finds they're happier. They have less anxiety. They have less depression. They're more productive. Their grades are going in a good direction. Their job is going in a good direction. Their relationships are improving. Their stress is decreasing. They're in less pain because this is someone who suffers from chronic pain perhaps. This is the person that's truly benefiting from using weed on a regular basis. Now, if you're this individual and your parents disapprove of your use, but you're using it because you're truly getting a benefit from it, it might be worth sitting down and having an honest discussion with your parents and saying, guys, listen, I understand that you disapprove. I understand that I've been caught smoking weed a bunch of times, but look at my life. Look at what I'm doing right now. Look at how good of a direction my life has been going in since I started smoking weed. And it should be obvious to them. If it's really benefiting you to the extent that you claim it is, it should be obvious. And this can not only be to a family member, but this might be for a significant other. There's many people where this might apply to. But it should be obvious from an outsider perspective that your life is going in a better direction. And you can even say to them, I understand that you guys disapprove of weed. I understand that you view it as a drug, but maybe it's time we go talk to a physician about the benefits of medical marijuana, or speak to a doctor, someone that maybe your parents are willing to listen to regarding the benefits of marijuana and in what ways it may potentially be working in your favor as a regular consumer of it. That's scenario number one. Scenario number two looks a little different. This is the person that's under the impression that weed is curing the anxiety, curing the depression, making their life better. This is the person that's under the impression that weed has led to an increased amount of productivity in their life. But from the outsider perspective, so maybe that perspective of your parents, a loved one, or someone else, your life is actually going downhill, and it's just that addiction lying to you. So this is another great talking point with your parents. You can sit down and say, why do you guys disapprove? And they may say, look, it's because we've noticed your grades drop, your relationships have dropped, your finances are in trouble. You, to us, look like you're headed in a bad direction, and we hate to see that from you. That you might be shocked to realize weed might not be helping you in all the ways that you perceive it to be helping you. And you might learn that in a conversation with your parents. You might not. Now, in both of these scenarios, these are parents that are open and willing to have a discussion with their children, or, if you're watching this because it relates to a marriage or a relationship you're in, a partner that's open and willing to have a discussion with you. Now, scenario number three. This is the kid who's at home smoking weed. I don't know if they're doing good with it. I don't know if they're doing bad with it. Irrelevant to me. They want to keep smoking, and their parents just aren't having it. And you know what? That's reality. When you live at home, when you live with your parents, it sucks, but it's their rules. Their rules are what matter. So in that case, honest to God, your next move is probably to move out. And moving out is probably going to require a job, it's going to require income, and it's going to require a whole host of other things. Maybe they kick you off the cell phone plan, maybe they kick you off their health insurance plan. I don't know what number of things it's going to take, but that is a reality. some parents are going to refuse to acknowledge that there could possibly be any benefit to marijuana consumption just because they've been so inundated over their years of growing up hearing that marijuana and weed is bad. It's bad, 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 bad. And they're going to be unwilling to change their perspective on it. And there's, in some cases, nothing that you can do to convince that person otherwise. Remember, parents only want to see what's best for you if they're, like if you're in a good relationship with your parents. And if they feel that weed is harming you or hindering you in some way, shape, or form, they're going to tell you that. And if you're living in their house, you don't really have an option. The only thing you're going to do is keep doing this addiction or this habit or using it recreationally, wherever you're using it. All you're going to do is continue to damage your relationship with that family member. Now, again, in that scenario, you don't have many options. But I think it's important too, when you talk to your parents, a lot of people I talk to are talking to a significant other, they're inclined to say, well, I smoke weed. Well, yeah, well, you drink wine every night. You drink beer every night. Well, you have things that you do too. You vape, talking to their parents. No parent wants to hear that, nor do they care. And they get frustrated the same way you get frustrated when someone calls out your bad habits, when someone calls out your behaviors. So that approach probably isn't going to work. The only approach that would potentially work in this scenario is sitting down and having an open, honest discussion with your parents about your weed use. Now, there's another scenario too when it comes to talking to your parents. Maybe they've caught you smoking a bunch of times before, and maybe you're actively trying to stop. You're trying to quit, but you can't. And they keep busting you because you keep bringing weed into the house, and they keep saying, stop doing this, stop doing this, stop doing this, and it's damaging your relationship, and you want to quit, but you can't quit. This is a serious situation that a lot of parents aren't aware of. We see the same thing with nicotine addiction. They don't understand that addiction to weed does happen. It's a very real thing. And I think at this point, if you're falling into this category where you really want to stop and where you really know it's damaging your life, this is a great opportunity to talk to your parents or talk to a loved one and say, hey, listen, I have a problem. Like, I need help. I need your support. I need you guys here to help me with this. And right now, just constantly fighting me with me, telling me I'm a failure, telling me I'm not accomplishing anything, telling me just ripping the weed away time and time again. It's not helping. And maybe your parents don't know how to help. Maybe this is a great opportunity for you guys as a family to sit down. Yeah, you can call our offices here at Addiction Mindset Recovery Coaching. We do family sessions. But this is a time for you guys as a family to reach out and maybe start to work on and tackle this issue together. So I laid out a few different scenarios for you guys when it comes to weed. You're going to have some parents that I think if you just talk to them, they're going to understand. And if you really feel it's benefiting you, they may actually see those benefits when you lay them out in front of them. You're going to have families that just refuse to hear it. They refuse to understand, and there's no changing it. Your only option is eventually one day saying, listen, we agree to disagree, but I'm on my own now. I'm going on my own now, taking that leap of independence. Just make sure you're making it for the right choice. Option number 3 is maybe you have an addiction. Maybe you have a problem. And maybe having this discussion with your parents about the weed addiction, about the marijuana addiction, is one of the best things that you're going to do for yourself. Those are really the 3 different scenarios. And I want to end by saying something super important. Remember, when we do suffer from an addiction often lies to us. That addictive voice in our brain lies to us. So be on guard for if that addictive voice is telling you, hey, you're productive when you smoke weed. Hey, you feel less anxious when you smoke weed. Hey, you feel less depressed when you smoke weed. I want you to be really, really mindful of how you actually feel when you're smoking weed, of what's actually going on in your life. is weed really putting you in a better place? Or are you holding on to something that maybe at one point was once a positive in your life that's now become a negative? And maybe you're blind to that because of an addiction or because of a problem. I hope this video helps you guys out. Be sure to follow me into the next video where I talk about tips to help you with insomnia when it comes to quitting weed. I'll see you guys there.